This video is made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Hello everyone, my name is Ziamaro and welcome to Battlerite Sage. So yesterday the developers put out a new update blog explaining how the Battle Royale mode will work. They also gave us a sneak peek of what the new map will look like, and it looks beautiful. Now, I know that I was a little concerned about the introduction of Battle Royale. If you've been watching the channel for a while, then you'll know that I'm a huge advocate of getting in-game social features sorted before, well, what I would consider fluff. But you know what? Stunlock have some pretty understandable reasons behind this decision, and I'll get into that in a bit. But first, let's have a look at some of the new info we have about Battle Royale. So, some of this we've known from the get-go, but we also have a lot of new information. So let's go through what we know so far. You can queue solo or duo. There'll be 20 players total on the map. The map is around 30 times larger than Skyrim. We now know that the map also has a variety of areas to explore, including villages, forests, tombs, and temple ruins. And as we've already seen, the map looks pretty amazing. The matches will last around 10 minutes, you can play as any champion, and here's the next piece of information we've been given. We knew there would be items to pick up, but we now know what some of those items will be. So, when you start the game, you have no abilities. You then need to start exploring the map where you can find your missing abilities, equipment, and some other kinds of consumables. So after reading how the game mode will work and seeing the new map, I'm actually a lot more optimistic about this decision. And looking around Reddit, that seems to be a sentiment shared by a lot of the community. I know there are some people who just don't like Battle Royale whatsoever, and those people still won't be happy. But a lot of us, myself included, were just a little skeptical about how good it would be. Some of us instantly thought about Battlegrounds, the pseudo MOBA game mode we already have, and know how meh it is. But you know what? Even just looking at the screenshots of Battle Royale, it looks like Stunlock have put a lot more thought into this than they did with Battlegrounds. One thing that I know some of us are a little apprehensive about is starting with no abilities. I'm guessing you at least have your mouse 1 ability, or maybe you don't, but ability pickups are so common that you'll find your first ability really quickly. To be honest, I'm just going to completely withhold judgment until we have a chance to try it out, which, by the way, should be around July this year. They don't have an exact launch date yet, but we at least have a ballpark estimate. Next, let's have a look at what Stunlock are thinking. Because, let's face it, the announcement was a bit of a shocker to the community. When news broke of a Battle Royale game mode, you could almost feel the collective sigh of disbelief. We all thought it was a joke. So Stunlock's Peter Ilves explains why they've been developing this in particular. First of all, the studio already has experience with free-for-all survival games. If you didn't already know, they were the guys and girls behind Dead Island Epidemic. Secondly, they explained that they've been looking for a while for a less intimidating experience for new players. Anyone who's been playing the game for more than a few weeks knows just how tough it can be to get started in Battlerite. They've already come a long way from Bloodline Champions in making the game a lot more accessible, but even so, it can still feel like a very hostile environment to anyone who's new to the genre. So they looked at what the core Battlerite experience is, and how they could keep that Battlerite feel in a more casual game mode. So they listed stuff like small-scale combat, a wide variety of champions who are all capable of fighting on their own, and a core experience that revolves around elimination. They also point out that they implemented the Death Vortex in Bloodline Champions back in 2010. And that was way before Battle Royale madness started. And you know what? This is just feeding further into my hipster Stunlock theory. No guys, we had a death circle before it was cool. But I mean, still, Battle Royale is massively oversaturated. But I get their thinking behind going this route. And Battlerite is also the only non-shooter to have a shot at it. Even just looking around Reddit and YouTube comments, there is actually already an appetite for a fantasy-style Battle Royale. Battlerite isn't strictly fantasy, but it's a hell of a lot closer than anyone else. And that alone could bring in a whole new crowd. And that's what we all want, right guys? The fear that this game mode could be so popular that it overtakes Arena is still there though. But Peter actually addressed that too. So they've made it abundantly clear that Arena will still be the primary focus of Battlerite. Obviously though, as a creator, whether you're a filmmaker, a musician, or a game studio, you put your product out into the world. You can market it however you like, but ultimately, once it's out there, you have no control over how it will be received or interpreted. For example, you could write a book or make a movie with an unresolved ending, Maybe you leave it open-ended to try and make a point, but you just know people are going to come up with their own endings. It may not be what you wanted for the story, but it's what people will do. The point I'm trying to make is you can have a vision for your product, but ultimately, once it's out in the world, it's the consumer who decides what it means. I'm happy that Arena will remain the primary focus, but that doesn't mean a million new players won't come in and see Battlerite as nothing more than a fantasy-style battle royale game. To be fair though, having a million players would be a good problem to have. But in any case, I think Stunlock have their heads in the right place. They've also said that they're slowing down development on new champions, and I know this is a decision that won't please everyone. But personally, I think it's a wise decision. There hasn't been a single champion in the time that I've been playing Battlerite that has actually been balanced on release. Some have been absurdly overpowered on release, like Destiny, Ulrich, and Xander, and then others have been borderline useless, like Alicia and Jamila. They always end up balanced eventually, but constantly pumping out new champions undeniably creates balance issues. They've also said, moving forward, they'll be focusing primarily on the PC market. As many of you probably already know, an Xbox port has been in the works for a while. They haven't said explicitly that they're abandoning the port, but even just stating that they'll be focusing on the PC market is somewhat telling. What these two things together could ultimately mean is less development time taken up by console ports and new champions, and more time to balance the game and implement new systems. Which, incidentally, was another of my worries about Battle Royale. So, in a way, you can kind of think of Battle Royale being developed in the time that they would otherwise be developing new champions or the Xbox port. So hopefully, this means we'll still get all those much needed in-game systems in a timely manner. Things like an updated scoreboard, clan system, and tournaments. All in all, I think this developer blog just goes to show how important communication is. Just talking us through the thinking and processes the studio goes through helps us understand and even accept even the most controversial of decisions. So I definitely encourage Stunlock to carry on being transparent like this. And I'm sure a lot of you guys too, really appreciate the openness. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to subscribe for more Battlerite guides, news, and discussion. If you'd like to help support the channel and get some unique rewards, then head over to patreon.com/battleritesage. And don't forget to check out twitch.tv/battleritesage. Until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.